The year was 539 BC, and the city of Babylon glowed like a jewel against the desert night. Towering walls stretched endlessly, their torches flickering like stars fallen to earth. Inside those walls, King Nabonidus was far away, leaving the throne to his proud and restless son, Belshazzar. The young prince walked through the halls of the palace, hearing whispers of an army gathering beyond the Euphrates, but he dismissed them. Babylon had stood unbroken for centuries. In one corner of the palace, an old scribe named Ardu kept writing on a clay tablet. His hands trembled as news arrived. Cyrus the Great, ruler of Persia, had reached the city's outer defenses. Ardu had seen many kings rise and fall, but tonight he felt history changing with each breath he took. Belshazzar ordered a grand feast. Music filled the palace. Dancers twirled under golden lamps, and nobles raised cups of wine as if no danger existed. But beneath all the laughter, a quiet unease spread through the air. Ardu watched the prince walk toward the sacred vessels taken from the Temple of Jerusalem. The old man's heart tightened. These vessels were never meant for mocking displays, yet Belshazzar lifted one and toasted arrogantly, declaring Babylon eternal. A cold silence followed. A single torch on the wall flickered violently, its flame bent sideways, as if blown by a wind that no one else could feel. Then, slowly, a pale hand appeared. A hand without a body, floating in the air. The guests gasped. Wine spilled to the floor. The hand touched the palace wall and began to carve mysterious words into the stone. Belshazzar's face drained of color. The musicians froze, their instruments trembling in their hands. The message glowed faintly, shimmering with an otherworldly light. But not a single court magician could read it. Only Ardu, the old scribe, stepped forward shakily, whispering, "Send for Daniel." Daniel, a man known for his wisdom and visions, entered the hall quietly. He looked at the writing with sorrow rather than fear. The words were ancient, from a time before Babylon's glory. Daniel turned to the prince, his voice soft but unshakable. Mene, tekel, pia, eres, yene Belshazzar, asked for its meaning, his voice trembling. Daniel spoke meaning. God has numbered your days. Tekel, you have been weighed and found wanting. Parsanya kingdom will be divided and given to the Persians. Belshazzar sank to his knees. His feast turned into his judgment. Outside the palace, something far more alarming was happening. While Babylon celebrated, the Persian army had diverted the flow of the Euphrates River. Water levels dropped silently, turning the riverbed into a path beneath the city walls. General Gabryas of Persia led his soldiers through the lowered river. Their armor made no sound in the mud, and their shadows moved like whispers under the moon. Babylon, which believed no army could cross its waters, slept in false security. Ardu stood at the window of the palace and watched the torches along the riverbanks go out one by one. He felt the earth tremble under marching footsteps. The Persians advanced without resistance. The city gates were unlocked. Guards were unaware. Babylon, the great empire, had fallen asleep at the moment it needed to be awake. Inside the palace, Daniel's words hung in the air like a prophecy unfolding in real time. Belshazzar's eyes widened as Persian soldiers stormed through the corridors. The prince reached for his sword, but it was too late. The kingdom that once roared with power fell in a single night. Ardu watched history collapse in front of him. The shouts of soldiers echoed across the marble floors, mixing with the fading notes of abandoned instruments. The magnificent city of walls and wonders surrendered without a final cry. And then, silence. By dawn, Cyrus the Great entered Babylon not as a destroyer, but as a ruler greeted by a stunned populace. People lined the streets, unsure whether to fear or welcome him. But Cyrus declared peace, respect, and restoration of their temples. Babylon did not burn. Instead, it changed hands like a torch passed in the running of nations. Ardu, the old scribe, took his final tablet and carved the events of the night into it. He wrote of a prince undone by pride, a prophecy written by a ghostly hand, and an empire lost not by battle, but by arrogance. As the sun rose behind the ancient ziggurats, he placed the tablet among thousands of others, ensuring that Babylon's fall would never be forgotten. That night became a turning point in history. It marked the end of one empire and the rise of another. And though Babylon's walls still stood tall, its last flame flickered out silently, carried away by the shifting winds of time.